Ladies and gentlemen, what drives me is the faith that people are with us and the faith that you are going to stand by those values. Not because we sit here and your president tells you that stick to those values, but because I know that the people who voted for you are going to hold you accountable. These are already awakened people. I see it tempting us many times to try and fit into the honorable MP stature, in the mayor stature. I can see many of us already fighting to fit in, which is natural and normal, but we are not living in normal times. And our people are not looking for a leader to fit into the image of an MP. No, that's not what they're looking for. So don't feel in such a rush to buy the most expensive car, to buy the best suit, to grow a big stomach. Don't feel in such a rush. It is important that people continue to see you for what they voted for. They might not tell you that. As a matter of fact, they might tell you that when it's already too late, when they are blaming you. And for people like my good friend Singwa, who already had his weight, you might be in trouble. You know, that was a right moment, don't take him very seriously, but he has weight and it's questionable for the voters. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss quite a lot, but most importantly, to prepare our minds. One, for what is at stake, for what we are facing and what we are about to face in the coming days. First and foremost, where are we? We are in a country that is led by a brutal dictator who is very smart, who has mastered the art of being a benevolent dictator, who has mastered the art of running I'm looking for a word that explains a dictatorship that puts a semblance of democracy. I know that while we are here in this retreat, we are all expecting a raid from either the police or the military. Even when General Museveni is holding a retreat with these NRM MPs spending taxpayers' money. The people that are on our t-shirts are in prison. Many of them are being held and tortured, accused of wearing military uniform. But as we speak right now, Museveni's MPs, who are civilians, are putting on full military uniform in his full view. That's where we are. We are in an absolute dictatorship that is going to try as much as possible to sanitize itself, and sadly so, using some of us, because that is an effort they are trying. Where we are today, sitting in a comfortable air-conditioned room, but knowing that the people we represent are going through the worst. What is at stake if we don't win? If we don't win this struggle, it might take the people of Uganda back so many years. If we don't win this struggle, which Museveni is struggling so much to ensure that we fail, it will mean that there will only be trials and no success. If we don't win this struggle, it means constant death of our people. Forget the deaths in hospitals because there are no drugs. Forget the death of women giving birth. Forget the children that die in avoidable situations. I'm talking about the death, the state-sanctioned murders on a daily. In your constituencies, people are being abducted, picked, tortured, women raped, etc., etc. So we must remind ourselves while we sit here to not be comfortable, to not think that it is, normal, it is formal. We are members of parliament, so we are treated as such. No, we are not being treated as such. And as a matter of fact, the people that we represent are being haunted, murdered, and that is not going to stop.
I want us to have that state of mind. We are in a state of war. We are in a war, only that on our side we choose non-violence. But the regime has its violence in full gear. I want us to be reminded of that. If we have that at the back of our mind and anchor all our thoughts and all our deliberations on that, we will be connected to our people. But if we think that now we are members of parliament that are only concerned with the legislation, which is largely predetermined by Museveni, and then sends his MPs to just rubber stamp it, we will be wrong. It is important that we are constantly reminded of the real facts that are ongoing. Some of us that read the Bible, there's this story of the children of Israel when they were coming from captivity. They were heading to Canaan, but there's a place that they reached before, and many of them relaxed. And yet Canaan was still ahead. Some of them actually died there. So please don't die along the way. Don't feel like you've arrived. We are not where we are supposed to be. I was speaking to one of the leaders, and he indeed was worried, because he said the biggest problem to the struggle are those politicians that win positions. We have a duty to debunk that. We have a duty to be seen that indeed people entrusted us and we are pushing their struggle ahead. We must not relax. I will also remind you of some of the things that many people don't want to talk about, that there's an attack on everything and everyone, on every institution. Some of our Muslim friends were just mourning the death of their sheikhs, and we all know that their deaths are questionable. And then we, the Catholics, are also mourning deaths of our eminent religious leaders, and it's clear that their deaths are questionable. In the recent past, you've all been on social media, and you've seen what is ongoing. What you see is real. That is where we are as a country. And it's important for us not to relax, because the enemy, the oppressor, has not relaxed. Our people, every now and then, are motivated to know that, okay, now this time we have more members of parliament. Maybe our agitation will be more. Now we have more mayors, we have more leaders. Those comrades are fronts for the fight. They are not eating places. They are not relaxing places. In Uganda, bachita chiwejo nga awomodde tannatuuka, temuwummula mikwano gyange. There's no time to rest. And there's going to be every effort, those that are visible and those that are discreet, to ensure that you relax your mind, that you be at peace, that you fit in your new profile as a member of parliament, as a mayor, to be at peace, to start thinking of business, to start marrying a second wife. Do not be taken by that, comrades. That has been the undoing of most of the people that have been struggling against Museveni. There's going to be every effort, of course, to divert us and divide us, most importantly, as the best way to derail us. I want to briefly remind all of you that we started out as a people power movement, which was and is still owned by the people of Uganda, which is the rallying call, because that is what we represent today here. When we came up with the National Unity Platform, that we told our people that it is the political wing of people power. And indeed, the National Unity Platform is serving an idea, which idea is people power. We must ensure that people continue to see us as a representation of people power. To ensure that they don't see us as yet another political party that comes to fit in the political terrain and then proceed. We must constantly be answerable to those our people. We must constantly be a representation of people power. You are people power registered. You are people power elected. And your bosses are still the people of Uganda. It is extremely important to remember that and act that. And before I conclude, comrades, I want you to know that you are the face of that idea. You can make it, you can break it. You can motivate the people of Uganda, you can deflate them completely by what you do and what you don't do. That's the kind of responsibility that you are as members, that you have as members of parliament, that you have as mayors, as councillors, as leaders of this, our party, as leaders of this, our idea. Like I said, we promised to people that we'll be their servants and they will be our bosses. We promised a new Uganda. And even before we arrive there, they must see us working and representing that new Uganda with what we can. We have a certain extent of ability, at least. So people must see that new Uganda. Because as we move, we're moving to becoming government. The struggle is still ongoing, but at least you have a certain front. So what you do on that front is going to reflect so much on what the people do on the ground. Very importantly so. I'll also, comrades, remind all of you as elected leaders to live like those people who elected you. We have a population that is very, very easily detachable to the leader, especially if they see you changing from the person that you were. I'm not a perfect person, but at least I want to try as much as possible to give an example or a sample of an NUP leader, of a people power leader. Our people might be worried that now that you're there, like all politicians, speak very nicely before they are voted into office. And as soon as they are voted into office, they be choking out. So here we are. That's why I was telling you, comrades, you are in no rush to buy a new suit. You are in no rush to buy a new car. I would actually discourage those fancy and expensive cars. They don't only detach you from the struggles, the daily struggles of the people, but it even saves your money. You are in no rush to fit in. That is not what we represent. All of us were, bigging up President Magufuli when he discouraged luxurious. Not that you shouldn't live nice, but be a representation of what we would be if we were in office. What are we representing now? Because what you do now is what the people will see you would have done if you were a minister or if you are in government. It has to start with you, the individual. Then from you, the individual, it goes to us as a team. And from us as a team, it will trickle down to the nation. It's very important that we communicate that we continue to be the reflection of those our people. Don't fall in love with money. Don't, set your bar high. You will eat and get satisfied in your usual restaurant. But when you go to that kafunda, it is not just the eating. You might not know, but that's where you get most of your communication. That's where you connect with the people. That must not be lost. Of course, there's so much more that we'll discuss when the media is out of here. But it was important to let you know, comrades, that we must keep the hope alive. And that hope is represented
by you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep the hope alive. The world is looking at us. People are watching